Welcome back to Effective Living Monday Night Conversation. What's up, beautiful people? I'm Coach Ricardo Miller, and it is a joy to be back with you guys. If you're in the Dallas area, you are experiencing the rain. Yeah, we need rain in the city. And tonight I'm joined with Coach Deborah D. Smith. What's going on, Miss Deborah?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, it's a blessing to find myself on day 24 of my birthday month. Yeah, this is my birthday month, and so all month long it has been a time of celebration and appreciation for the goodness of God on my life. And so we're going to dive right into our talk, Coach Deborah. I was on a radio show today in the Bahamas, and I was talking about habits. And this week, inside of our exclusive group coaching community, we're talking also about habits. And on our blog, it's all about habits. I mean, you've been helping young men with your platform and the book you've written, the role of habits. What's your whole view on habits?
I mean, habits can either make you or break you.
Yeah.
Because, as long as we have good, positive habits, they will help us be successful in life. But if we have poor or negative habits, then they can wreak havoc on our lives. Have us to do crazy things, not meet goals, just go in the wrong direction.
I hear you, and I know a lot of people. We hear how habits have made us who we are, which really a lot of what we're going to talk about today. But I want us to talk a little bit about that whole element of how habits are built and then how habits are break down. Well, let's go into our blog. If you guys have been following our platform for a while, you would know that we also talk about the conversation through the form of a blog on the website, ricardomiller.com. The blog today, we talk about the power of small habits. Success is the product of daily habits. Now, failure is also the result of habits, all right? So daily habits, like you mentioned, can make you or break you. Why do you think most people don't pay attention to the habits that are being formed? Clearly, all of us have them. Clearly, our lives, the better off it is. It's an indication that pretty much our habits are working for us. Our good habits are working for us. And if your life is not really going the way it's really wanting it to be, chances are it could be a major reason could be habits are not working for you. Why do you think people don't stop and pay attention to the habit factor?
Well, I guess it's something that they've never thought about or focused on, so they don't even, that doesn't even come into the scenario. It is a habit because that's something that they're used to doing in their lives, and it's just come routine. So they don't look at it as it's a habit. That's just me. That's the way I do things.
Yeah.
And they don't stop to say, hey, wait a minute. Now, that's the way I do things, but I'm not getting the results I want. So do I need to stop and assess the way I do things? But they just keep moving.
I like the question you just said. Asking yourself the question, am I getting the result that I want? And then if you've identified, I am not getting the result that I want. But and you mentioned this too. People say it all the time. That's just the way I am. Coach, I've just never been good with money. Unfortunately, Coach, I'm telling you, man, you put a plate in front of me, I'm just going to eat it. From I was a small baby, from I was a child, my mom will tell you, I always ate what was on my plate. It's amazing by the amount of people who have that type of mindset, though, Coach Deborah.
It is. It is. Most people are that way. It's just, well, I'm hungry, I'm just going to eat, and they don't worry. They continue to see the pounds, come on, and the doctor keeps saying, well, something's not quite right. You're going to have to lose some weight. And they go, okay, I understand, and I exercise every now and then, but they continue to eat those same foods, and the weight keeps going on, and they don't, begin to think, until it, sometimes people, like, I got a moment, like, wait a minute. Now I keep, every time I come to the store, it's a different dress size, something's wrong. I got to stop, and some people just keep going. Just keep going.
Yeah, and it's related to so many areas. hey man, at what point you're gonna get to the point when your bad money habits is ruining you, your bad eating habits is ruining you, your bad social skill habit is ruining you. I
That's
mean,
right. All areas of your life.
say it again.
I said all areas of your life.
All areas of your life. So here's the deal. When we talk about effective living, we talk a lot about faith, family, finance, fitness, and fun. You can have good habits in all five of those areas, and you can also have bad habits in all five of them. You can have fun to the degree that it's hurting you and everything related to you. You agree?
That's right. Yes. Yeah, you have all the fun you want, do everything you want. And, it's just like with your finances.
Yeah.
You can just spend, spend, spend. Every time you get something, you, you don't save anything.
Yeah.
Or somebody say, well, you need to save money. You'll say, oh, yes, I do save. But you save it in that share account that's connected to your checking account. So when you spend everything in checking, it just rolls over. So you're not saving anything. You have emergencies. You don't have any money to pull from. So then that's when you start charging and you're paying Peter to pay, borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, and you just get yourself in a bind.
Yeah. Yep. I want to help people pay attention to their habits because I found this to be true. I saw Melissa is joining us today. Melissa says hello. Miss Carol's joining us. We have Karen is joining us. Miss Irene's joining us. Thank you guys for joining us. I want to talk about this. Let's dive into this. And if you're watching us tonight, let's talk about this a little bit. There's two things I want to talk about. Good habits, bad habits. Good habits, bad habits. How many of you guys watching us, how many of you pay attention to your habits? How many of you identify it to be a habit? How many of you realize you drive the same way home? You go to watch this. There are so many restaurants in your city, but you pretty much go to the same restaurant. You go to the same grocery store. You spend your money the same way. You get up first thing in the morning and you do the same thing. You get home and you pretty much do the same thing. The power of habit is super strong. Melissa, now here's the deal. We know that there are certain things that comes at us as strongholds, but strongholds are attached to habits to the point where it's generational and all. You say, oh, Lord, my grandmother struggled with this. My daddy struggled with it. And now I'm struggling. What's your view on that, Miss Deborah?
Oh, yeah, I believe in those. But I also believe that you can break them. But, a lot of people, that's where they get their habits from, Big mama and grandmama and mama and everybody did this. And so because they did it, then that's the way we do it. Well, they didn't save. They just, I gotta die one day and you can't take it with you, so I'm just gonna spend it. Well, they didn't necessarily have all this money to save, but what they were doing, they were paying their bills and they probably weren't doing all this frivolous spending, but they weren't saving. But then as you came along, you have a better job, better education, you're making more money, so you can afford to pay your tithe, to save money, have emergency funds, but you don't do it because mama and grandmama didn't do it. So you just get in that same little frenzy. And, we never invest in researching or listening to people. You can get on, it's just like people that get on Effective Living, Build Your Best Life, The Power of Words, wherever, listening to Brady. You get on there and you hear all this great information, but if you don't apply it and you keep following those bad habits that you have, then you're going to stay in the same place.
Melissa said something here in the notes section. She said our bodies are on autopilot. That's habits. That's habit built in at the highest level when it's just autopilot. It's just, Hey, you have a habit of walking around your house. So for the most part, you could pretty much almost walk around it with no electricity on and still not bumped up into stuff like what someone would have normally bumped up into stuff because you've built a habit of maneuvering around the house. Okay. Now let's pinpoint habits, Miss Deborah. Let's call out some and for our viewing audience who are highly engaged with us tonight. We're so glad you guys are joining us on YouTube and Facebook. Let's keep throwing out habits, okay? Now here's the deal. All of these things can be attached to some form of habit, but at the end of the day, here's the deal. You gotta ask yourself, when does it lean over to bad? Or when is it good? Or is there this okay medium? So a couple of habits I would think of, Coach Deborah, I would think of is, the habit TV watching. Oh man, it can become a strong habit, man. You could get to the point where some people have lost their jobs because they've become addicted to TV.
Really?
And isn't it crazy? Watch this. As crazy as that song, the thing about it is a bad habit for you may not be a bad habit for me.
All right.
There's some people, so there are people with television issues. There's some people who can't get up out of bed. I'm literally 11 o'clock. They're okay. They can sleep all day. And I'm not talking about just on after working a long shift. I'm talking about it's just, man, I can sleep 10 hours. I can sleep 12 hours. I don't have to get up out of bed. I mean, just some people tell you they don't have to get up out of bed. I'm not judging. I'm just saying, right?
Right.
And then, some people say, man, listen, I can spend money. Oh, man. Hey, you give me that money, I'll show you how to spend money. Listen, man, they can't give me enough money to spend. Do you know that there's some people like that? I mean, as fast as it comes, it goes. How in the world somebody could win the lottery, $100 million? And here's the deal. Your family in its entirety didn't make $100 million, in 3 generations. You got it at 30 years old, winning the lottery, and you lost it all by 40.
Right.
How in the world did you lose it all in 10 years or even less?
Or less.
Just habits. So I mentioned that. Another one that can be is you just have the habit of procrastinating. Just putting it off. Just procrastinating. And I'm gonna do this one. A bad habit of overeating. Ooh.
Yes.
A bad habit of overeating. What are a few, before we go back to our blog, that comes to mind for you? And if you're watching, guys, go ahead and put in the comment some of the bad habits that you've seen or had experience or whatever. You just want to put it out there.
Yeah. I think a lot of people as far as my car and gas. Now I won't let my gas tank get past half full. It's got to be at least half full. Well,
my wife,
you got this whole tank. Okay, well, why do I need to let it get to empty? Is there a particular reason why? You never know when an emergency is going to come up or something. I want to make sure I have it. So why would you prefer to let yours get over there on the red and say, well, I know when it gets on the red, I can go to work 2 more days. Okay, one of these days that's not going to work.
Hey, my wife probably laughing right now because every time she jumps in the car, when I'm driving the car, she's like, Lord, why is the car on E? She's like, and so I'm just letting you know that's one of my bad habits. I'm gonna work on that one. Go ahead.
Yes, please go work on that one. And you said about spending, but sometimes we get a habit of just spending just to spend. And I think I've said this before, but I have this Michael Kors fetish. So every time a Michael Kors bag comes out or somebody say, what do you want for your birthday? What do you want for Christmas? Michael Kors bag, Michael Kors shoes. And I just have Michael Kors bags everywhere. And I have Michael Kors watches or whatever. But I have got to the point now that I was like, now really? I can't carry all those purses. And they're not cheap. So what if I had taken all of that each time I told somebody I wanted a purse? If they had given me the equivalent or even a little less, I could have bought some stock with that or put it in a savings account.
Yep.
So It's just a habit of did somebody ask you what you want and you just like it and you just say that's what you want, but it's
Yeah.
nothing that you need, you
Mm.
have to have, or
Yeah.
anything like that, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just spending to be spending because you can.
Yeah. Yeah. It is it's amazing how many habits that is incorporated into our lives that makes us who we are. You know, and a lot of people we won't take the time to review our lives. Let's go into the blog. Let's talk a little bit about what the blog has to say here. He says, on our by writing it, on our journey to living life effectively, you should be far more concerned with the current direction than the results. When we talk about the direction, where are you heading? Where are your habits taking you? That's really the gist of it. Some people are like, this is where I am. But the question is, what are you doing on a daily basis that's moving you towards something? So which direction are you heading in? Are you heading in the direction of, a crisis? Or are you heading in the direction of positive compound interest that will cause you to celebrate over time? This is something that we have to think about.
All right. Yeah. And as I was kind of researching, I came upon a quote that says, "You'll never change your life until you change something that you do daily. The
Mm.
secret of your success is found in your daily routine." And that was from
Daily.
John C. Maxwell.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, that you have a purpose and you want to be successful. You want to show your family that you are going to, well, I have this purpose. I know I have a purpose to start this business, and, we can run it as a family. And so you know that, but each day that you get up, you only do enough on your current job. You don't do anything all around. So you're not saving any money. You're not trying to improve any of your skills. You're just going with what you're doing now. So what you're doing now has got you where you are. So if you don't change those habits, we know that that's something that you're used to doing. You're used to going to that 9 to 5. We know you're used to spending what you spend. We know you're used to not saving. However, if this is something that you've told your family, so that's putting you out there.
Yeah.
What is your family going to think 5 years from now when you're at the same place? Hey, Dad, I thought you said we were starting a business. Oh, yeah, we going to get to it. When are you going to get to it? You got to change those habits. Which way do you want to go?
Now with people watching and diving into this whole, okay, I need to pay attention to my habits. The question is what level of your habits are lagging along that you're not paying attention to, but it's forming something. It's forming something. I just have to have my coffee every morning when I get up. I have to have a coffee in the midday, but you're like, huh? And you're not realizing it's just a coffee. It's just a cup of coffee. It's just a cup of coffee. Are you right? As you mentioned, it's just this, it's just that. And what you're doing is you're forming something. It's lagging along, but it's creating. And before you know it, you say, I can't help myself. I can't help myself. When someone says I can't help myself, it's not true. It's just simply, it's true to them because that's what they believe. But it's simply what they've become accustomed to hearing or saying to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you say something to yourself, the more it reinforces itself. Have you seen that to be the case? That people fail to realize if you keep telling yourself it's going to be true to you, even if it's not true?
Right. Yeah. If you say it long enough, it's going to, that's what it is. It's gospel. Just like you say, if somebody says, I have to have that coffee. If I don't have my coffee, I can't do this. I can't do that.
Yeah.
What happens if you can't get the coffee? What's going to happen? Is your life going to end? The soul that is telling you you don't need it. Know, so you're telling yourself that. It's just like when you're eating habits.
Yeah, you're correct. So something we all have to probably accept, and I love the statement that Melissa has up here. in conjunction to that, I want to say habits can be broken. And I heard you mention that a little bit earlier. Habits can be broken. Habits can change. You don't have to, that's just a habit I have. Somebody said, that's just a habit I have. You don't have to keep that habit, right?
Right.
Now watch this. Some habits are so strong, it's going to be the fight of your life to break it, because it has connected with all of the fiber of your weakness to the point where, you know what I mean, it's an addiction now. It's a stronghold. It's these kind comes through prayer and fasting.
Right.
You're gonna have to fight to break the thing, and then sometimes you have to keep fighting to retain or sustain the behavior that you have started to incorporate to break that. Do you agree with that? That some people, it's not only one thing to change the habit, it is having the discipline to incorporate these behaviors that keep me from going back to an old habit.
All right. Yeah. So just like it took you a while to form that bad habit, even when you make that decision to change, you're going to have to keep that routine up, and you got to stick with it. And, I hate to use myself as an example all the time, but I'm not my best example.
Yes, yes.
But it's just like, I'm talking about weight. There's nothing like sitting down to a plate of food and it's something that you love.
Oh, yeah.
You can eat it all.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
did you need to eat it all? Were you full before you ate it all? Probably so, but it tastes so good. You just keep eating, until you, like I said, I got to that point where, it's like, no, this is not gonna work. I'm not going up another dress size. I'm not gonna do this. And so I, changed I didn't go on a diet. I changed my habits.
Yeah.
And so in changing my habits, once I got where I needed to be, I had to stick with those habits. I couldn't go back to the old habits. Yeah. So what does that mean now? When I go to a restaurant, of course, it may be something that I just know I could sit there and eat the whole plate. But most times when I go somewhere, when I order my food, I say, can you please bring me a to-go box?
Okay.
And, they want to drag their feet and bring it at the end of the meal. No. Can you bring it to me now?
Wow.
And I take my food and I split it before I even start eating.
Nice.
I know that I don't need to eat all of that. I know it doesn't take all of that to make me full. So why am I going to sit there and just stuff myself? Because it's good. So it can be good the next day or the day after that. So, you have to get into those habits. So you break a habit.
Yep.
But when you break that habit, what do you do? You can't stay idle. You've got to replace it with something to make it better, because if you broke it, it was something that wasn't good for you. So you got to replace it with something. And then you have to do, like Melissa said, it takes 30 to 40 days to make a habit. So you got to consistently do it, get that new habit, and continue that.
Yes, it's amazing. Thank you for suggesting that idea or mentioning that you do that. I need to incorporate that. I'm going to work that into, what? Go ahead and bring me my to-go plate right now. And let me split this meal in half. I can see that working for me too. So thank you so much. Listen, someone made me what is it? Banana pudding. Oh, banana pudding. Someone made me a banana pudding from church. One of the ladies, Miss Zerlene made it. I'm going to put her out there. Miss Zerlene made me this banana pudding, Lord Jesus. And the banana pudding is enough for a party of 26 people, okay? but it's only me and Karen and Grace. And so I look at that banana pudding, I slice it up and put about 4 pieces on my plate. Slightly warmed that bad boy up. And I sat down there and I was just eating, watching TV. Eating up, Melissa, I was eating up banana split. And then the next day I sliced up another, and I ate about 4 servings. Okay? Glory to God. Let me tell you something. And then I felt guilty because I felt like a snake just finished taking in a whole cattle or something like that. Them snakes just have to sit down there just be there for a couple of days. And I say, Ricardo, you can't afford to do this because, I'm paying attention. I really don't want to put on that kind of weight, and I really don't want to mess up my health easy. But I mean, I could sit down there and just eat. So I was telling Miss Zerlene, I said, Lord Jesus, you give me enough banana pudding for a party. And so I said, I'm gonna have to invite somebody over to try to share. And then she told me about how you can warm up, save them, and warm it up, put it in the freezer and so forth.
Freezer.
So, but here's the deal. My challenge is with people who make me cakes and pies and all that stuff, believing that I need to eat that thing before it goes bad. So I'm gonna have to tell people when they make me stuff like that, just make me a personal pan. You know?
Right.
Just make me, because especially as you mentioned, if it's something you like I love macaroni and cheese. Oh my goodness. In the Bahamas, we make the best macaroni and cheese. I mean, when my mama comes, she baked that big pot of macaroni. So yes, Miss Carol, I've been I froze, I put it in the freezer, I slice it up and put it in different categories, all right? And so Christmas candy is coming. That's not one of my things, Melissa. That's not one of my things. Christmas candy is not one of my things. What's one of your things, Miss Deborah? What's a thing that you just got to be careful and you're like, okay, discipline yourself to incorporate the healthy habits by putting this thing in this to-go box? What is your thing that if they keep bringing it, you keep probably indulging?
Key lime pie.
Key lime pie.
Yep. I could told my husband on the ship, I said, well, my feelings kind of hurt. We normally have key lime pie. There's no key lime pie. So I might ask for a second slice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's something, I get, and it's like, oh my goodness, Bahama Breeze. I don't know if they have one in Texas.
They do. We do.
They have the best, I think, key lime pie and that crust and all, but I do cut it in half. Okay. I mean, I think one slice is maybe about 600-700 calories, but it is so good.
Oh Lord. Melissa, I remember the candy you make for me, Christmas candy. Oh Lord. Melissa brought me some Christmas candy. Those kind of candies will cost you sin, Melissa. Okay? But please put me on the list again. I'm gonna have some. I have family coming to the house so I can share. Let's talk about this. Our blog, we talk about this. You get what you repeat. You get what you repeat. Let's talk about that. What's your view on that?
Yeah, you definitely get what you repeat. That's just like you're spending. If you, if you have a habit of you just shop when you get ready. You don't think about, you have your bills to pay, but you just, shop. You don't worry about saving or whatever. And then you don't worry about that emergency fund that we know we should have, or, savings. We say savings, we got $100 or $200 somewhere. And we're like, oh yeah, I got a savings that they can get it. So, right. The more you do that, the more you dig yourself in a hole, because life happens. Emergencies come up. What are you going to do if you don't have the money?
Yeah.
You have to do something. So then that's when they either try to borrow from a friend, which they shouldn't do because that breaks friendships and families up. Yeah. Or you're going to use those credit cards. And we know it takes you forever to use those high interest rates. Or, you go and get a loan. You got to pay that back. So then you get yourself more and more in a hole, and I've been there and I've done that as a young person. You start getting credit cards and you just go out there and use them. Oh, they said, you can get another credit card. And it's like, I was probably in my 30s or 40s when I realized, hey, credit cards are not good for you. So I tried to get into my son's head. Hey, when you go to college, they're going to start sending you credit cards. Don't do it. Don't do it. And it was like, when I wanted him to use a credit card to start building up his credit, I said, well, just get one. I'll keep it. You don't have to use it. Maybe use it once or twice, and we'll just pay the balance. He's like, no, ma'am.
Yeah.
So, but you get into those habits. And then once you get there, it's that habit. You find yourself in a bad place. And it's, how do I get myself out of this?
Yeah. How do I get myself out of this? Now that this is the habit that I have found myself locked into, we all have bad habits, small habits. Okay, so I wrote something down here. habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. You have to commit to wanting to improve.
Right.
Okay, you just got to commit. I'm going to improve. I want to improve, and then what you have to do now is pay attention to what habits you have incorporated. This week in our exclusive group coaching community, we're gonna be tracking habits. So I want people to take some time and write out the habits that they have incorporated in life. Let's just say you write out what is considered good habits and what is considered bad habits. So here's the deal. You want to make sure that your life is filled with more good habits, okay, than bad habits. Everybody has a little bad habit here and there, okay? Nobody's exempt from a little bad habit. Now, the challenge is when your life is overtaken with, oh, Lord, I can't believe. Hey, watch this, Mr. And a lot of times this is not, sorry, I don't want to say this because it's only young people, but let me just say it. I've met guys who went to school with me. And when you hear how they spend their money, how you hear how they talk to their children, how you hear how they deal with their spouses or their significant other, their habit of how they deal with God, how they work on the job. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I can see why life's not working for you. You have so many bad habits. I mean, do you think people ever think about the fact that the more bad habits you have, the worse off your life will be? Do you think people look at that?
It depends. A lot of people don't. I mean, they are not where they would like to be, but they are complacent and they're fine with where they are. So, I have a roof over my head. I have some transportation. So, what the heck?
What the heck?
You have to put in that, like we said, bad habits produce bad things. Good habits produce good things and success. So that goes back to, where do you want to be in life? Are you okay with where you are? Or is there someplace else in life you want to be? You want to build a better life, for you, your family, the future. It just depends. And it's just, today there are just a lot of people that are complacent where they are.
I heard a comedian crack a joke saying that the devil went to God and says, those people just lying on me. He said, those people lied on me, man. I didn't do a lot of those stuff that these people are talking about. It is the habits that they have built in their lives that messed them up. And they're like, the devil's after my finances. No, if you would get your habits in dealing right with your finances, you would realize that devil is a lot he can do with your finances, Right. But your habits. Let's talk about this. When we talk about getting 1% better every day, getting 1% better. I am of the belief that if you would commit to getting better 1% every day, you'll be amazed by the end of the year, you almost have a different person.
Right.
But most people aren't okay with 1% improvement. 1% improvement every day is amazing. But we live in that microwave generation. We live in this era where people want total transformation. They want total better. I was reading a book this morning, and the guy he was talking about how people eventually say, he came out of nowhere. She came out of nowhere. And there's a statement that says when preparation and opportunity meets, that's when success collides or emerge, right? When opportunity and preparation meets. Well, here's the deal. People see you, Coach Deborah. Watch this. In the pandemic, chipping away 1%, 1%, 1%. Watch this. And then in 2021, chipping away 1%, 1%, 1%. Every day just growing and getting better. Every day. In 2022, just chipping away 1% every day. Just every week, if I can get better, 1%. Okay? 1%. 1%. Miss Irene say 1% is better than 0%. I love that right
That's
there.
right.
Right? Watch this, just getting that 1% better every week, 1% better every month. Then watch this, in 2025, it hits and goes global, right? And then people say, oh, she came out of nowhere. Oh, no. It always amazed me when people say things like that, right?
Right.
Do you know how many years Joseph, let's go biblical, okay? Joseph was in the background. He was faithful to Potiphar's, okay?
Yeah.
Serving Potiphar. He was faithful in prison, okay? I mean, and somebody, oh, he is lucky. Pharaoh favored him. If you know what this man had to go through, he was interpreting people's dreams who forgot about. They got out, got promoted, lived a good life, and forgot all about him.
Not about him.
Hey, he was accused, lied on, but then when he got that ring, he got that ring and he got that seat next to Pharaoh. Everybody's like, he came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Yep, big dog.
Let's talk about that 1% improvement. What's your view on that?
That 1% improvement will help so many people. But when you said that, when I read it, I thought about the number of people that sit back and say, well, I never get any opportunities. They have promotions on the job, but I never get any. Nobody ever, says, I have this opening. Would you like to move up or whatever? Why do I never get favored? Wow. Okay, but you sit there and you don't try to do that 1%. You never say, I'm going to invest in myself. I'm going to do some self-development. I'm not just going to sit here and do the work I have in front of me every day. I'm going to try to learn something new. I'm going to try to read this book. Oh, this book will help me with problem solving. Going to this course will help me with critical thinking. I'm going to volunteer for this project, but I'm going to do this 1%. I'm going to just keep doing and improving myself until, I'm going to get somebody's eye, because I'm not going to just be sitting doing the same thing day after day after day. I'm going to be assisting my, peers that need assistance and developing myself. And then, I'm going to, if a promotion comes up, not only are they going to notice me, but I'm going to have the qualifications to step in there and do an excellent job.
Come on. See, and that's it. But somewhere along the line, I just want the promotion, Deborah. I just want the promotion. And promotion, watch this, y'all. Write this down. Promotion demands preparation. Okay? Promotion demands preparation. You want to go to the next level? Start preparing yourself. Okay? I've said this for years. Prepare for what you're praying for. Prepare for what you're praying for. A lot of times it is in the not being seen time when you're supposed to be building yourself up. David didn't say, hey, I was thinking about creating a sling and a stone concept. Let me try it out for the first time on this giant. Right? No, it was when no one was looking. Prepare for what you're praying for. One day my chance will come. One day the opportunity is going to present itself to me. The question is, will I be prepared? So promotion demands preparation. And watch this. The higher you want to be promoted, the more preparation. Talk to somebody, Miss Deborah. You need to challenge them watching us today. Because somebody is wanting more, but they're not preparing themselves for more and establishing the healthy habits that will sustain them in the waiting season.
That's right. I mean, you just cannot stop and be complacent, people. The world will hold you down. The world will give you rubbish. We have choices in life. We can make the decision that we want to break bad habits, that we want to do better, that we want to develop ourselves, that we want to do whatever it is that is our purpose, and we can do those things. You look at Coach Ricardo, you know, he has a new family, and I met Karen, so I know he's doing what he's supposed to do. You know, he be having on some dark glasses. So, but you see him out there. He's not stagnant. You know, every time you look, he's doing something new. He's not. What RJ say, he's on his grind. He's moving. He's shaking. He's changing things. He's speaking to people. You know, he's doing the things that's going to make him better and improve. You know, he's excellent. However, we can all learn something different and all improve. You know, and Coach, he'll send me something. Hey, read this. I don't say, oh, yes, sir. If I don't read it that day, the next day I'm looking into that, because if he told me to read it, it must be something interesting and something that's going to help me. So, you know, I believe in being a lifelong learner. I want to learn as much as I can that's going to benefit, not just to say, oh, I know something, but God gives us a purpose, and whatever he gives us, we should want to do it to the best of our ability. So how are we going to do that? We've got to hone the skills that he has given us to use. So if I just sit and say, oh yeah, I know how to do that. Oh, I know that. I'm not improving. I can't go to that next level. So you have to do things for yourself. You don't do it because your spouse wants you to, or your friend, but you find out what your purpose is, your dream, your goal. You know the skills you have, you work on those skills, you improve them over time, and you do what you need to do. You start chipping away, as Coach says, you form those good habits, and you follow those good habits to get to success is connected. And what did he just say? What did you just say, Coach? Promotion. Promotion.
Promotion demands preparation.
Preparation. You got to prepare. Yep. You don't just get up there. You know, we look at the presidents of the United States. They don't just get up one day and say, oh, I'm a manager at Walmart. You know, I think I'm going to be the president. They had to do some things to get to that level. So that's what we got to do.
You know, thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you for your compliment as well. You know, I got so much room for improvement, but I love improving. and here's the deal. What I found out that really is working for me, and I'm very appreciative of the people that's around me, and that is I get a little overwhelmed, but when too much is trying to be pushed to me from improvement standpoint. And that's so what I do is I'd rather you tell me, hey, Miller, this is what you have to do this week in regards to improving. If you give me 7 things, I won't do all 7 of those things today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spread them out. And I'm a big fan of daily to-do lists and goals, right? And so I'm going to write out my goals for the week. And I'll be like, okay, 2 things a day will bring me to the point where I'm able to do the 7 things you mentioned and some by the end of the week. You know? And so somebody said, how do you get to hold it all together? I'm not trying to hold it all together. I'm organizing myself. So I tell people effective living is more about management than it is, you know, obsession about any one thing. It's management and it's pacing yourself. Effective living also is a marathon. Effective living is all about management, and it's a marathon. And everyone who, if you ran a marathon before, they'll tell you one of the biggest part about a marathon is pacing yourself. Pacing yourself. And you just got to know. And so for me, Coach Deborah, I look at myself and I'm like, you know, in the event God would have given me 10 more years, if I keep chipping 1%, 1%, 1%, you know, when you look back, you know, it's been 30 years since I left high school. 30 years plus. I mean, I left high school, I'm class of 92, okay? I'm proud to say I'm class of 92. If I shave off these gray beards, I'll look like I was class 2000 with Karen. Hey, babe, I know. I'm just saying, right? So here's the deal. So here's the challenge, though. I look back over my life and I talk with my friends and my colleagues, and I'm like, I still feel like I still got 30 years of progression in front of me. I am not like, oh my goodness, I done been on the school 30 years now. It's time for me to slow down and wind down and check out. No. I'm like, if God would have given me 30 more years, Coach Deborah, I would love to be right on that 29th year, as strong as I was on the early 30 years in. You know what I'm saying? And so that's just me. And so I think about habits is this. Over time, I used to have an anger, just habit of being angry all the time. I had a habit of not smiling. As much as people see me smiling now, I had a habit of not speaking up for myself. Could you believe that? I had a habit of not speaking up for myself. I had a habit, man. I had so many habits, but here's the deal. If you've been given time and you utilize time favorably over time, you'll look back over your life and you realize a habit that once had you bound. Oh, hallelujah, somebody. A habit that once had you bound. Coach Deborah, you see me laughing. I'm loud at a table. I'm all giggly. When I was growing up, I wasn't no giggly fella. I was a street fella. And where I grew up, you didn't laugh a lot because that was just not the way. Okay? You had this angry demeanor. It was like all the time. You know, I laugh, even try to do it now. But I can still do it because, you know, I'm just a house pit bull, okay? I'm just learning how to, I'm teen. Let's go into this, Miss Deborah, before we cut our show and talk. Time magnifies the margin between success and failure. I want to talk about that a little bit. Good habits make time your ally. Bad habits make time your enemy. You have any view on that before we finish this up?
Yeah. You say good habits make your time your ally, bad habits your enemy. So, you know, we all have time.
Yeah.
How we spend that time. If we have bad habits and we're utilizing all our strength and energy into those bad habits, and it's just as a quick example, you were saying what class you graduated from and how you look, you know. Now I'm going to say somebody with bad habits and somebody with good habits. Now, if you run into one of your friends that had bad habits, they were strung out on drugs and alcohol, didn't eat right, and you have been doing whatever in moderation, and y'all meet for a reunion, and you look and they say, oh, you know me. Why you pretending you don't know me? And you're like, and they look like they're 30 or 40 years older than you are, because those bad habits over time is their enemy. And that can be with finances, health, mental health, or anything, where it's the same thing with those good habits. So if you're using taking care of your body, taking care of your mind, your finances, all those 5 F's, then as time goes, those are your friends. Those are your allies. They're there with you. They're helping you to chip away and be, you know, hey, I can take a vacation from my life because I'm happy. You know, I'm having fun. I've been taking care of myself, because some, you know, people look at me and they say, you're not 69. I was like, yes, I am. I look at somebody else that graduated with me and I'm like, and they, you know, people get mad when you say, well, no, I don't remember you. But
I was wondering, how did you call that one out? Because I've had a few people mention that to me, like, hey, bro, we went to school together. I'm like, man, we ain't went to no school together. Hey, man, you were 10 years older than me, huh? And I know, oh, man, it's amazing. Listen, we were out the other day and I told Karen, I said, so we're you know, we hanging out, and I said, who do you think is the oldest? And come to find out, the oldest was me, and the person, the oldest, was about the same age. And I said, man, I thought I was at the party with old people. And she was like, this is your age people. I was like, they don't look like my age people, right? But it's just, you're right. You just want to take care of yourself. And it's not about comparing. It's about, it's about you paying attention to the fact that if you do right, eventually it'll hard not to look around and realize, why did so many people not do right with these habits? And so last but not least, here's the deal. I was telling someone today on a show, I said that, at the end of the day, the goal is to be the best version of yourself. Now, here's the deal. Your habits are making you, as Coach Deborah said at the very beginning, or they're breaking you, okay? And now here's the deal. You can change at any given moment. You're not a rock. Habits can be broken. Habits can change. You can decide to go a complete other way, okay? And then tell yourself, hey, we live in a time now, Coach Deborah, I mean, there's so much ways for us to just simply say, you know what, I don't want to go that way no more. And we can make the adjustments if we really, really make up in our mind. What is your closing thoughts to our viewing audience today about small habits?
Well, always think, like they said, you can take them, start out with something small, just like you plant something in the ground and it can grow. Anything that you start out with small, over time, will it grow? If it does, you want it to grow into something good. You wouldn't want, if you went out and planted a seed in the garden and you had been waiting over time, watering it and having those good habits of taking care of it like you're supposed to, and it came out of the ground and something was wrong with it, you will wonder, okay, I had a habit, but what kind of habit? Was I using the right kind of habit as I was taking care of it? Or was it a bad habit? So were you using the right kind of fertilizer? Or you using bad fertilizer?
Yeah.
Were you using the right kind of water? Or you were using water from the sewer?
Yeah.
It's going to make a difference in what you get out of that. So you have the choice of how you want your life to turn out. It doesn't matter where you come from, because you can break habits.
Yeah.
You can, those generational curses you can break. You can do better. And it's not to say you were better than your ancestors, but I don't know of any parent or grandparent that don't want the next generation to do and be better.
Yeah.
So that's what you have to do. Work towards those habits that are going to be good for you. And a lot of times, I said earlier, a lot of people don't know. I think maybe they know, but they've come complacent. And, if life is not bothering me, I'm not going to bother life. But when you have those bad habits, change them, And I know sometimes it's not easy. Some people can do things a little bit quicker than others, but get an accountability partner. Someone, as Coach says, there's always someone assigned to assist you. So if you have a habit and you don't know how to break it, how to change, ask someone. Change your life, change your space, the people around you. Sometimes those are the things that hold you back. So we can change, but remember, whatever we do, whether it's good or bad, when we do it consistently, it becomes a habit.
Yeah.
Good habits are good for us over time, and those bad habits are not. And I'm going to read this one last quote before I turn it back over. It says, the chains of habit are too weak to be felt until they are too strong to be broken.
Woo! Yeah, say that again.
Get into that.
Say that again for our viewers.
The chains of habit are too weak to be felt until they are too strong to be broken.
Wow.
Don't wait.
Don't wait. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to decide that you're going to evaluate and assess your life. Look at where you are. And here's the deal. Just 1%. Decide every week, just change, make some adjustment, 1% for the better. And just every week, if you make an adjustment every week, even right now, if you were to pay attention and make a little adjustment for better every day for the rest of this year, just on this fourth quarter window, can make you look back at this year and be like, bless God. I'm grateful for what 2022 would have given me. Okay? Decide to incorporate the kind of habits that will make the life that you've said you always wanted to be the life you're currently enjoying or ultimately enjoy. So you can create a life you don't need a vacation from. You just have to decide to live life effectively. How do we do that? You remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Remember, it's more about management. Consistently doing what is right over time will get you to that place where you're having it all. Nothing missing, lacking, or broken. Coach Deborah D. Smith, thank you so much for another great Monday night conversation. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you're on Facebook, please share. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe and invite somebody to check out our channel. We ain't going nowhere. We're here and we're doing what God's called us to do. When it's all said and done, we're going to keep getting better and God is going to keep getting glorified. Have a good night, everybody. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye.